fearful avoidant attachment style in the bedroom. What does it look like? Well, you guys have heard me talk about anxious attachment style and avoidant attachment style. This is a combination of the two. It originates in childhood. Go to YouTube, my YouTube channel, and look at these different attachment styles. But just to give you an overview, they kind of swing back and forth between the two attachment styles to create the fearful avoidant. Sort of an anxious style and a fearful style that avoids intimacy. These folks feel unworthy of love, and so they also exhibit extreme fear when they want to get close to someone. This is one of those attachment styles that you absolutely have to work with a therapist if you want to arrest it. And so let's talk a little bit more. Let's go in a little bit more in depth on this style. It truly is associated with borderline personality disorder, and it's really those folks who have had parents who were either verbally, sexually, or physically abusive to their child, and so they couldn't, their attachment figure of that child is one to be feared. And it can be extremely, I should say, it can really cause a lot of trauma. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it, you guys. It really causes trauma in those individuals, and it makes it so that intimacy is something to truly be terrified of. And so these folks vacillate between, and I'm going to curse, and I hope I'm not offending anyone, but I call it the I love you, I can't live without you, because I'm not complete without you, to F you, don't get near me because I don't want anything to do with you. So I had a client who literally was extremely jealous. She would hit her boyfriend. She would spit on him. She would do all sorts of sort of violent acts. And then when he was like, I don't want to be with you anymore, begging and pleading, I can't be without you, I love you so much, or being hypersexual in order to make sure that he was going to stay around. It is a roller coaster, because somebody who has healthy attachment, and anybody who has really healthy attachment isn't going to stick around for this for too long. But in the beginning, these folks can be incredibly sort of intoxicating and charming. And it feels like, wow, they're super into me. And it soon starts to flip pretty quickly. It usually takes about a month or so. They appear healthy, secure, but what happens is I had one client who would say things like, well, if you really cared about me, you would buy me that Louis Vuitton bag, or you would do this. And then have moments where she was saying, oh, I want to break up with you. You're not the right person for me. So he would do these things, but then she would turn around and say she was going to break up with him. But then, so it was like, I don't need you, and then desperate, like, if you did these things, this could prove how you love me. It is, you will feel crazy, lots of gaslighting in these relationships. These folks, there's a great book called, oh my gosh, I think it's Stop Walking on Eggshells. That's it, Stop Walking on Eggshells. I highly recommend it. Go to Amazon, get it. It talks about people with borderline personality disorder and narcissism, and they exhibit these sorts of attachment styles because with their caregiver was either withheld love for them, and they were also someone to be feared. Either physical, verbal, humiliation, sexual, all these things that could happen. And so that's how narcissism develops. That's also how borderline personality develops. And so when you get in relationships with these folks, believe it or not, initially they are incredibly charming. And man, oh man, then you start to get little hints of it as to, well, gosh, you know, I saw you looking over at this other person. You're like, what? I wasn't looking at anything. Yeah, you were. And that made me really feel like really sort of strange things. So now what you'll find yourself doing if you're involved with somebody, or if you're this person, you're going to see that you're in constant sort of, you're always sort of in a battle with your partner. And you either feel not loved enough, or you're saying, you know what, I don't want to be bothered with you. And it kind of, the pendulum swings back and forth. But those folks who are involved with these people it is just, I feel so sorry for you. It doesn't mean that it's insurmountable, but I will tell you, it's one of those things that you'll probably be working at most of your life. It's, you know, I always tell people that I don't have a great metabolism, and I always have to work at working out and making sure I'm taking care of my body so that I don't gain weight. And this is the same. You're going to have to get, instead of a personal trainer, get a good therapist who specializes in attachment disorders and who specializes specifically in narcissism or borderline personality disorder. There's a lot of trauma there. It's not like these people just kind of came out the womb this way. But, and I'm so sorry, there appears to be some event, which I hope no one's hurt, but you may hear some sirens in the background. And so these folks, through no fault of their own, have developed this attachment style. And because of it, it makes relationships extremely difficult. And so these folks tend to be fairly promiscuous. Sometimes we see them developing sexual addictions, really trying to get their needs met through encounters. And what it does is it satisfies the need for closeness, but doesn't get too close, that avoidant, dismissive part. And what happens is this can only be sustained for so long, and then people start to realize that they don't have meaningful connection in their lives. And that also causes that spiral of feeling unworthy and unloved. And so it's this real sort of, it feeds on itself, and it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of, I'm not worthy of love, nobody's ever gonna love me. And so they start adopting, I don't really care about love. And so sometimes, again, engaging in some risky sexual behavior, and again, vacillating back and forth between I love you, and get the hell away from me. So if you are with somebody who has this, I would say is probably not a good person to be in relationship with at this time until they decide that they're going to do something about it. Get the book, get a good therapist, and I promise you things will slowly start to get better. I'm Chantel Cohen, and I hope you become one again. Please follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram. See you soon.